Okay, we are going to continue with the exercise. The last one was create a 3 car objects with at least 4 properties. That's one we just did on the last video. And question 5 says modify the exercise to display the information on the page, include an image as one of the properties. So there are many ways to do this. So we're going to show you the way I would do it. But it's going to require a lot more than we have here and a lot of code. So what I'm going to do is I pre-typed a lot of code, and I'm just going to show you how to do the last part of it. So I'm going to open it right here. Here's the HTML, and here is the JavaScript that I've got so far. So on the HTML side, we created a form on the ID, form ID. I titled it Godzilla. The input ID, I titled it King Kong. And I created a button with an on-click event called Get Info. Also created some more IDs, one for the image tag, called it Photo, and left the source open there. And then some more IDs, just 1, 2, and 3. I did them consecutively just so you can see that you can call an ID whatever you want to call it. So on the JavaScript side, what I did is I took the objects and I put them in an array, and I titled the array cars. Instead of variable Honda, variable Toyota, variable Chevy, I made them each make Honda, make Toyota, make Chevy. And for image, what I did is I went online and I found an image of a Honda Civic, and found an image of a white Corolla and a gray Camaro, and I just put the hyperlink in the quotations there next to image. So that should come up when you should access those images when it's trying to come up. And I went ahead and I typed up the order which I wanted to do it. Create the function, create the variable, make it equal to the ID dot value, because remember when you're pulling from a form you have to use a dot value. Create the for loop, create the if statement, get the ID and make it equal to the array.make. Just I put all the steps there. We're going to go through them one at a time. That's just to help me keep it straight in my head. What's first, what's second, what's third, and so forth. So you can develop your own system to keep things organized. This is just the way I do it. But let's start doing it now. We're going to start with number 1, create the function. So you want to say function, and the function name we're going to get from the onClick event, get info. So function name, and I'm going to put get info right there. And if you look on the left, there's a opening closing parentheses next to get info, so there it is. And then, so we've got the function there. The next thing on our list is create the variable, make it equal to the input ID dot value. So we're going to create a variable, and I named it King Kong. Make it equal to document.getElement by ID, and we're going to make it equal to the input ID. The input ID is King Kong, right there. So King Kong, and it says you got to make it dot value because you're pulling it from a form, so it's dot value. And that's the only time you use the dot value feature there. All right, so number 2 is done. And then number 3, create the for loop. So let's do that next. So the for loop is always starts with the word for, parentheses, I equals 0. And we're going to say I is less than cars.length. And then I plus plus. So that's the for loop. The reason we made it cars.length, because cars is the name of the array, and you want it to loop through the entire array, through the entire length of the array. So that's why we put cars.length here. And then I plus plus. For loop is done. Now create an if statement and make the variable equal to the array.model.make, etc. So now we're going to do the if statement. So if the variable is King Kong, but you know what? I don't want the variable and the ID to be the same. For me, just to keep it better organized, I'm going to title them something different. So I'm going to title it Bigfoot instead. So variable if Bigfoot is equal to, and we're going to say cars I dot make. And you know what? I want them to be able to also enter in the model instead of the make. So I'm saying or. So I want them to be able to type in Chevy or Camaro and have it display either or. So I'm going to do dot model. Okay, so we created the if statement there. So that part is done. And now the next step says get the input ID and make it equal to the array.make. So we're going to say document.getElement by ID. The input ID is King Kong. That's from over there on the HTML side. And we're going to say dot enter HTML. And it says make it equal to the array. And the array is cars I dot make. And that's it. We're done with step number 5 there. So we're moving right along here. Then get the other IDs and make them equal to dot model dot color, etc. So we're going to do the same thing for the other IDs as well. As a matter of fact, let me just I'm just going to paste some more of these, and I'm going to make them equal to. Whoop, what did I do here? Control Z. Go back to. Sure hope I didn't mess up any syntax or anything. So, and then I was trying to hurry it up and ended up making a mistake. So sometimes it's better just to be slow and careful. So the arrays for the p tag arrays are 1, 2, and 3. So I'm going to put 1, 2, and 3. And the objects are, we already have dot make, so then dot model, and then we're going to have dot color and dot year. Okay, and the last thing, it also says in the exercise we have to display a image. So with the image, do you guys remember how to do that from the last lesson? Get the image ID and set the attribute to the array. So we're going to say document.getElement by ID, and the image ID, I titled it photo. It's over there on the left side, over image. Then dot set attribute, parentheses, no equal sign on this one. Source, comma, and the comma, you need the comma. Then the array, cars I dot img. And that's the link over there where the img is. So we've got everything now. The photo ID, we got it from photo. And that's the engine that's going to make this whole thing go. So the function, the variable, the for loop, the if statement, and the elements. Now let's try it. And I'm going to type in Civic and hit click me. And displays an image and the information for the Civic. And you could have typed a whole bunch of stuff there. So, you know, mileage, miles and year and all, all kinds of stuff. But basically, that's the basic function of how it works. You can type in Chevy, shows you an image, or you could just type in Corolla, because I made it either model or make. You could have made it color, year. You could have done everything. This is just, I'm just giving you an example of what can be done. And that's it. And that fulfills the requirements of that question. Says modify the last exercise to display the information and include an image. And that's it. Thank you for watching, and go ahead and practice on your own and do some on your own.